What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some battles in the Ultra League featuring 3 buffed legendary Pokemon in Lunala on Shadow Ball, as well as Yveltal and Xerneas with their signature moves of Oblivion Wing and Geomancy respectively. Now I happen to have built one of the worst IV spreads possible for Yveltal, getting to 2451 CP with its next power up going to 2502, just over the CP limit. And as you can see, this Pokemon basically has no defense either, which isn't optimal for a Pokemon that's going to look to boost up its own defense. But I didn't have any Yveltal below 2500 CP with the signature move, so I traded for this one, and unfortunately it came out awful. But do just be aware, Yveltal could be way better than what you're seeing in this video if it had better IVs, and to be fair, that does go for a lot of the Pokemon that I showcase. I build whatever I have available. I don't really raid much at all. I also don't hoard tons of every single Pokemon on the off chance that they get a move update like 10 seasons later, but I do think specifically Yveltal could be a lot better with better IVs. I did, however, still get a few opportunities where I was able to boost up my defense a few times, and this Pokemon was able to get out of control. But anyways, with that being said, let's just get into the question of the day. What is your favorite legendary Pokemon to use in the Ultra League? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. So go into the first battle, leading Lunala into Shadow Golurk. So this is a fine matchup. Of course, I will have to shield in this matchup, as a Shadow Punch is going to hit for double super effective. But actually, I overfarm massively. The opponent also overfarming, and I'm able to catch a Shadow Punch onto my Yveltal. The opponent comes in with Shadow for Alligator. They will outpace me quite comfortably. However, I don't really care. I'm resisting the fast move damage. I'm going to shield, fire off the Oblivion Wing, and of course, boost up my defense stat. I don't think this will allow me to live a Hydro Cannon because of my bad IVs. However, I'm fine with double shielding here, as I believe Golurk will not reach another charge move. We can now shield, go for another Oblivion Wing, and if the opponent wants a double shield as well, I've got energy on Lunala. I'm going to snipe with a Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball will, of course, take out for Alligator here, and then I guess we're going to see what their final Pokemon is. They come in with a Shadow Cresselia, but this is great for Lunala. We are a part Psychic-type Pokemon, resisting confusion. Shadow Ball hits insanely hard. The opponent forced to throw straight away, and I won't be needing Xerneas for this first battle, so we can come in with the Yveltal, go for the Sucker Punch farm down. One more Sucker Punch takes out Shadow Golurk, and I'm able to take that game. So, GG to open there into the next battle. We're going to see Virizion in the lead. So this is a great lead matchup for me. Triple resisting the fast move damage. The opponent is going to be choosing to stay in and firing off a charge move. Could be a Stone Edge, but honestly, it's not going to deal that much damage there. You can see we could actually tank a second Stone Edge. They then swap out. I'm going to go straight for Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball is going to connect, and now I come in with my Yveltal. This time they are going to farm up to a potential Ice Beam. I'm happy to shield this. The opponent does full send it, and now we get the full farm down. They're going to come in with a Florges, but that's fine with me. We can go straight for Oblivion Wing. Oblivion Wing is going to connect. It does just under half their HP there, but that's fine. These Sucker Punches are adding up despite being resisted. I'm going to no shield. It's just a Chilling Water. I'm now going to look to throw on CMP here, winning CMP. Oblivion Wing should be grabbing a shield back from the opponent. And now that I'm double boosted, this won't get the KO, so I might choose to swap out of this matchup. I do a swap into Xerneas, but they come back in with Virizion. Now this is going to be a pretty comfortable matchup for me. We can go straight for Moonblast. Moonblast is going to grab the final shield, and at this point, I don't need to shield the first charge move. The opponent is going to full send a Stone Edge once again. I'm looking to go for a full farm down here. However, I might not quite be able to get it, so we shield the Leaf Blade. Can I get the farm down? No, I'm going to swap out, catch the charge move onto Lunala. We've got so much energy. I assume they're going to swap out straight away and try to get an energy advantage there. If I go for a Geomancy, they might get to a CMP tie, so instead, we're going to throw straight away once we see the switch. We get the KO there with the Moonblast, one more Geomancy, and I'm able to take out Virizion, and I'm able to take that game. So, GG to open there into the next battle. I'm going to see an Armored Mewtwo in the lead. A great lead matchup for me. The opponent's going to Safe Swap into Licky Licky, and I'm going to come in with my Xerneas. Now, I don't need to win switch advantage here. All I really need to do is deal some decent damage, because both Yveltal and Lunala are going to be very good up against that Mewtwo. I'm going to go straight for Close Combat. Close Combat, going to be no shielded. At this point, I'm actually happy with that, so I will just no shield. Body Slam will get the KO, but now we can come in with Yveltal. I believe they might get to a Body Slam, but they're not really going to be able to deal that much damage. damage, so the opponent's actually going to bank some energy and swap back into Mewtwo. Of course, I am double resisting Confusions. These are dealing basically no damage. I'm going to go for Oblivion Wing. That doesn't really do that much damage either. However, just in case they're on Rock Side, I will be shielding here. The opponent goes for Dynamic Punch there, and now we can go for a full farm down. Their final Pokemon is going to be Virizion, and this is going to be a really comfortable matchup for me. We go for Oblivion Wing. Oblivion Wing is going to be shielded, and we can reach a second one straight away before they even get to a potential Stone Edge. At this point, the opponent will be throwing a charge move. Absolutely fine with me. The opponent is going to go for a Sacred Sword there, so clearly not on Stone Edge. I'm going to let the next one go through as well, and then eventually I will swap out just in case they try and snipe me with the Licky Licky. This could be a Shadow Ball, so might as well shield it. Worst thing they could do is full send a Shadow Ball, so now we shield that up. We are one away from a Moonblast, and whilst this won't quite get the one shot up against Virizion, it does huge damage. 2 more Shadow Claws, gets the full farm down, and I'm able to take that game. So, GG's up on there, into the next battle, going to see a Jellicent in the lead. This is a bit of a tricky matchup for me here, and the opponent will actually now outpace me to a potential Shadow Ball. So, I'm going to call a bait here, and the opponent full sends the Shadow Ball. It gets the one shot, as of course, Lunala is a Ghost and Psychic type Pokemon. That was double super effective. So, yeah, not ideal for me. I did go up against one other Jellicent lead, and I believe they baited with a Surf, which is why I called the bait that time. But anyways, we are going to go for a Oblivion Wing, of course, going to boost up my defense stat. But now they're going to come in with a Florges, so not ideal for me. Going to go for another Oblivion Wing, and then I will be swapping into my Xerneas. But yeah, they can just go for debuffs here, and they will be able to spam them so fast that actually they should reach 2 Chilling Waters before I even reach a Moonblast, or even actually getting to a close combat. But either way, I'm going to have to start shielding now. And unfortunately, I'm double debuffed, so this Moonblast really isn't going to deal that much damage. We go for it anyways. Moonblast, going to be no shielded. And yeah, honestly, I don't really know what my play is here. I think basically no shielding that Shadow Ball right at the start basically lost me the game instantly. And yet they've got Wall Rain in the back. There is nothing I can do. And so I just concede the match. But GG's up on there into the next battle, and they have a Shadow Claw alone in Sandslash. That is certainly not ideal. I was hoping, you know what, since Powder Snow got buffed this season, surely they'd just be on Powder Snow. But nope, they're on Shadow Claw, so I'm going to go for a Shadow Ball here. Shadow Ball is actually going to be shielded, and now I swap into Yveltal. Of course, the opponent can go for super effective Ice Punches. However, I am resisting the fast move damage, so it's not the worst thing ever. I'm now going to go for an Oblivion Wing, and whilst this is resisted, it's going to boost up my defense stat, meaning I can more comfortably tank an Ice Punch, and it also puts them into Sucker Punch farm down range. Ice Punch still does over half my HP there, but that's fine. We do get the full farm down, and they're going to come in with a Wing Attack Charizard, which is interesting to see. Of course, that is a Legacy fast move. Both its other Legacy fast moves have been buffed in recent seasons with Ember and Dragon Breath, which both are now better. But either way, the opponent's going to fire off a Dragon Claw, so maybe just hasn't played in a while, hasn't realized that Wing Attack and Dragon Claw are not the optimal moves anymore. But either way, we're going to go for Oblivion Wing, and because we are so boosted right now, we can actually reach yet another Oblivion Wing up against the Giratina. Didn't really need to. I could have just swapped into my Xerneas, but the opponent is going to see the Xerneas. They realize there's not much they can do, and so they allow a full farm down with Geomancy, and I'm able to take that game. So, GG's up on there, into the next battle, we're going to see a Shadow Swampert in the lead. So, this is an okay-ish matchup for me. I should live a Hydro Cannon. I'm going to shield the first one anyways, because I expect the opponent will also shield in return. So now, I'm going to overfarm, fire off the Shadow Ball just before they're reaching the next charge move. Shadow Ball going to be no shielded, and they swap into a Shadow Sceptile. So, interesting team so far. We are seeing a double Shadow Hoenn starter team here. So, it'll be interesting to see if they have the full trio. I'm going to come in with Yveltal. The opponent is going to fire off the charge move, and they go for Breaking Swipe. Honestly, that did a little bit more damage than I was expecting. Of course, they also debuff my attack stats. They now go for Leaf Blade. I'm going to look to overfarm just a little bit here, and then fire off Oblivion Wing. Oblivion Wing gets the KO there. They come in with the Shadow Blaziken, and they make the perfect catch there. It's annoying because I knew that was going to happen, but I felt like I still needed to throw there anyways. And as a result, we are in trouble. The opponent, they did have the triple Shadow Hoenn starters. The opponent is just on Blaze Kick rather than Blast Burn, but it doesn't really make a difference here. They just go for back-to-back Blaze Kicks. Lunala probably not going to be able to live a charge move, so my only play really is looking to catch a charge move onto my Yveltal, but my switch clock isn't up yet. The opponent can fire off the Blaze Kick. Blaze Kick gets the KO, and now they can Ember farm down Yveltal, and unfortunately I do lose that game. But very well played there. GG's to that trainer. Into the next battle, I'm going to see a Nidoqueen in the lead. So we are going to see the opponent's going to safe swap into Florges. This is fine with me. I'm going to go for Shadow Ball because I can win CMP. And of course, they're just going to go straight for a Chilling Water. That's basically the only thing Florges can do here is just go straight for Chilling Water. I don't think I've seen a single Florges farm up to past a Chilling Water in like, well, since it gained access to Chilling Water, basically. So here, we're going to no-shield, and again, they do just go for the Chilling Water. We can go for a Moonblast. Moonblast, since we're debuffed, won't quite get the KO, but it actually puts them into perfect farm down range. Again, they're going to go for the debuff, don't really care. We can go for the full farm down there, coming out with a Charge Move loaded. Of course, we're double debuffed. This is resisted into Nidoqueen anyways, so it doesn't really matter there. Maybe I could have pivoted out, saved some energy, as I had two decent responses to this Nidoqueen, with of course Lunala resisting poison and Yveltal resisting the ground typing. Now there they full send a Stone Edge, they then swap into their final Pokemon, which is going to be a Togekiss. I go for Oblivion Wing, and that will allow me now to come in with Lunala. This is too soon for a Dazzling Gleam. It's an Aura Sphere, which is triple resisted. I don't know why they threw that. I guess they're just not familiar with Lunala's typing, and as a result, the opponent concedes the match, and I'm able to take that game. But GG's up on there into the next battle. You can see a load of Ninetales in the lead. They are going to swap out there, trying to catch a Charge Move or just banking some energy. Either way, they're swapping into a Tentacruel, which is actually a fine matchup for me. So I'm going to fire off back-to-back Shadow Balls here. Shadow Ball number 2 should be grabbing a shield, otherwise it will KO. And now I'm going to come in with my Yveltal. Of course, this isn't a dominant matchup for me by any means, but I am keeping it away from the Alola Ninetales. So honestly, I don't even mind just letting it go down here if they do full send a Scald, which they do. Now we should be able to come in with Lunala and fully farm them down. However, our switch clocks are misaligned, and now they can come in with their Greninja. And of course, they can outpace me here. We do have access to Moonblast for coverage, but they do outpace, so now we're actually going to bank the energy, come in with the Xerneas, and they will throw the Charge Move. This could be a Hydro Cannon. It is going to be the Hydro Cannon, so now I'm going to look to throw on CMP, recognizing I will lose this. However, this is just a Night Slash, so now we are very low. We're only going to give up like 1, maybe 2 Powder Snows worth of energy at most, and maybe we get to a move, but no, unfortunately not. But either way, we have a Shadow Ball already banked. Shadow Ball is going to be no shielded, but it just doesn't really deal enough damage there. And unfortunately, that is going to be game over for me because they still have a shield anyways. I don't have any shields. I should live a Weather Ball here, but not very comfortably. We get to a Shadow Ball. The opponent, just for the sake of it, they swap back into the Tentacruel. They get the Acid Farm down, and unfortunately, I do lose that game. But GG's up on there into the next battle. We're going to see Cresselia in the lead. A great lead matchup for me. The opponent's going to be swapping into Bellybolt. Pokemon I haven't really seen that much this season, of course, because it did get nerfed with Parabolic Charge, now costing the same energy as Oblivion Wing, which means Yveltal plays very similarly to the Bellybolt. Of course, it's not that bulky though, but Oblivion Wing does also hit harder than Parabolic Charge. But anyways, at this point, we are resisting the fast move damage. We are going to shield here. The opponent might end up, well, no, they did end up double shielding in this matchup, and now they can swap back into Cresselia. I'm not really sure why I came in with my Yveltal. I guess because the Charge Moves from the Bellybolt will be super effective into it. I thought I might as well come in here. But of course, I would still resist the fast damage from that Bellybolt. And I didn't really need to shield the first move if I came in with my Lunala. But anyways, it doesn't really matter. We can go for Oblivion Wing, boost up our defense stat. They do reach the Moonblast. Doesn't really make a difference, as they can come back in with the Bellybolt. But I'm able to reach a Focus Blast just about in time there. Focus Blast will be getting the KO. They come in with Greninja. I accidentally swapped into the wrong Pokemon. It doesn't matter too much as the opponent does throw straight away. However, if they farmed up to back-to-back Charge Moves, especially since they got the boost, that could have been very problematic. But luckily for me, they didn't. Moonblast gets the KO, and I'm able to take that game. So, GG's up on there into the next battle. We're going to see a Tinkaton in the lead. So this is probably where I want to see it. Of course, I have a Fairy type in the back, and I've got a Dark type Pokemon in the back. I'm going straight for Shadow Ball, throwing this as soon as I get there, and the opponent is going to no shield. Now, I'm thinking there's no way they bait with a Bulldoze in the Ultra League, but they do, and they debuff my defense, meaning I'm now going to have to swap out. I swap into my Xerneas. I'm very disappointed because I could have easily tanked a Play Rough on Lunala there, but I was just like, there's no way they bait, so that's pretty safe for me. But apparently not. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and full send a Moonblast. Moonblast is going to be shielded by the Shadow Dusknoir, and now we can come in with Yveltal. Maybe I could come in with my Lunala, assuming they don't throw it immediately here, because I am one away from a charge move. But we come in with Yveltal. The opponent is going to go ahead and fire off a dynamic punch. I then swap. I try to snipe with Lunala. It doesn't work out for me as the opponent swaps out at the same time. We've got back-to-back Shadow Balls, though, so I fire off the first one. I'm going to throw the next one straight away, assuming it will be the Dust Noir coming back in. But no, it's Galarian Moltres. And actually, even if I did go for a Moonblast there, it wouldn't matter because it would not KO. They'd be able to fully farm me down there, and I would have lost anyways. But GG's to that trainer into the next battle. Going to see a Shadow Torterra in the lead. So here, I'm going to go for a Shadow Ball. I will outpace them to a potential Frenzy Plant. Shadow Ball is going to be shielded, and they do throw straight away. So I have to no-shield this, and the opponent's actually going to bait with a Sand Tomb, and I'm still able to reach another Shadow Ball before they fully farm me down. The opponent going to let that move go through there. We're able to win switch advantage and grab a shield advantage, and they've got a Skeledirge in the back. So at this point, I will be shielding this, as of course, they can go ahead, boost up their attack stat, but then I can go ahead and boost up my defense with this Oblivion Wing, so I will be firing off straight away. Oblivion Wing is going to grab the final shield. I can now go for a full farm down, so very likely the opponent is going to swap out of this matchup into their final Pokemon, and they swap into Greninja. Now, I make a pretty significant mistake there. I did not bank a charge move before swapping out. So here, we come in, and we also did overfarm a little bit, meaning I can't really overfarm with the Xerneas. So I go for an undercharge. I was hoping that wouldn't KO, but it does KO. They get the full farm down, and they come out with the charge move loaded. I've really messed this game up, but Torch Song does not get the KO there. We get very lucky. We definitely misplayed, but I'm able to take that game. So, GG to opponent there, into the next battle. I'm going to see a Tentacruel in the lead. So this is a good matchup for me as I am resisting the fast food damage. Of course, they could have access to Payback this season. That was not actually enough energy for it, because we do actually pace the same to our charge moves, as Shadow Ball and Scald are going to be 50 energy charge moves, and Shadow Claw and the Acid are actually clones of each other. So here, at this point, I realized, yes, I can just no-shield this. It is another Scald. They don't get a debuff, and I actually commit to a full fast food farm down, coming out with 100 energy. I wait to see what comes in. It's going to be Heliolisk, so I full send a Moonblast. Moonblast actually going to drop their attack there, which is very nice. I'm now going to come in with my Xerneas, and their final Pokemon is going to be Dragalge, but they are on Dragon Tail rather than Acid, so that is huge for me. Moonblast is going to be shielded. I don't know if they're going to be on Sludge Bomb or Outrage, or maybe potentially even something else, so I swap out into my Yveltal, basically just sponging the damage, recognizing it's not going to be great up against the... I can't remember what it's called, the Heliolisk there, so we do just fully sacrificed it, and now we know they have Outrage and Aqua Tail, so I can no-shield this. I'm going to look to overfarm just a little bit here and fire off the Moonblast. Moonblast is going to be no-shielded. The opponent is going to come back in with the Heliolisk, but they are slower to charge moves this season. With Parabolic Charge costing more energy, they actually go for Breaking Swipe. I don't really understand that play, but either way, it doesn't matter as we still get the full farm down, and I'm able to take that game. So, GG to opponent there, into the next battle. I see Credilli in the lead, so this is fine. And once again, we are going to resist the acid damage here, and we can pace at the same pacing with our Shadow Balls, as they will get to the Rock Tombs or the Grass Knot. Of course, a neutral matchup, they're always going to go for Rock Tomb, look to debuff my attack stat, especially since they did, of course, shield the first move. But either way, we can go for Shadow Ball number 2 straight away here. Shadow Ball number 2 is going to be no-shielded. So I'm actually going to shield this, and then I will be swapping into my Xerneas, as I can outpace them. However, I don't really want to throw straight away and debuff my defense with a close combat. So I'm going to look to overfarm. They can now debuff me, and they come in with a Swampert. So at this point, I'm going to go for Moonblast. Moonblast is once again going to debuff their attack stat, which is very nice. And at this point, I'm happy to let the Xerneas go down. Hydro Cannon going to get the KO there. We can now come in with the Yveltal, and I will look to go for a full farm down. They are debuffed here. I am resisting the fast move damage, but I'm going to shield anyways because I feel pretty comfortable with my Yveltal, except they're going to have a Clefable in the back, and this is one of the worst things we could see, because despite being so far ahead on energy, despite the fact that I can get to 2 Oblivion Wings before they reach any one charge move, it doesn't matter. Double boosted in our defense here. This Moonblast still gets the KO. I do wonder if I had a better IV Yveltal there, maybe we actually live that and reach another charge move, but our IVs absolutely suck. Meteor Mash outpaces us, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG's to opponent there. Of course, in hindsight, I wouldn't have shielded the Hydro Cannon there. But either way, into the final battle, once again, leading into a Tentacle. This time, they say swap into Decidueye. And the opponent has farmed up to a potential Brave Bird. So I'm actually going to shield, and the opponent does full send it. So at this point, we can go for that Sucker Punch farm down. They're going to come back in with the Shadow Tentacle, and I can go straight for Oblivion Wing. Oblivion Wing is going to be shielded. We boost up our defense, and I'm actually able to outpace them. So I throw on CMP with the Charge Move, and we're able to grab both shields from the Shadow Tentacle. Now, unfortunately, because I'm double boosted, I no shield here, but it doesn't KO, so we do give them quite a lot of energy, which isn't really ideal, but we can now come in with Lunala. I'm going to shield here as they will go for a Scald. That's fine with me. They now swap into their final Pokemon, a Guzzlord, and we did have the opportunity to full send a Moonblast, but you know what? We're going to catch a Brutal Swing instead. Excuse me, I was nearly burping there. But now we can go for a Charge Move. I'm going to go for Close Combat because either one will KO. Close Combat takes out the Guzzlord, and now I can still reach a Moonblast into Shadow Tentacruel. This is resisted damage. It doesn't quite one-shot, but we get the Geomancy farm down, and I'm able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. Now, if you want to take your support to the next level, you can become a channel member with perks including early access to new videos, shoutouts at the end of each video, custom loyalty badges, and custom emojis to use in the comments of every video. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has become a channel member already. Your support is greatly appreciated. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.